Welcome to 5 and 5 from the One Stop Co-op Shop, where I discuss 5 key elements of a game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today I'm looking at Lords of Ragnarok, the follow-up to Lords of Hellas from Awaken Realms. And disclaimer that I was sent a review copy of this one. Lords of Ragnarok is an epic area control game with a solo Automa. How well does that play? Let's find out and get to the list. So my number 5 point, which is generally a pro for my taste, is the hunting in the game where you fight against the monsters. And lots of positive elements here. The interplay between using your combat cards and trying to match up these icons to fight the enemy, while at the same time using cards to defend against the enemy attacks. I find it all pretty thrilling, and also the rewards are good. Like, this is something that is one of the goals in the game, one of the victory conditions. If you hunt enough, you can win. But you can get artifacts from hunting. You can gain immediate benefits that are pretty powerful. So it's a fun and exciting element to the game, and it rewards you for putting time into it. My number 4 focuses on the other type of fighting in the game, the battles between armies, and this one's a bit more of a mix. On the positive side, the card play on your turn is pretty interesting. So you have different abilities on combat cards, not too many, not too difficult to remember what they are. But then you also have different casualty numbers, so the stronger the card you're playing, the more of your own strength points you're going to have to lose from your army for using them. So it gives a bit of a nice risk-reward kind of choice, and then also, the combat cards themselves are very tough to get sometimes, so you don't want to use them all in one battle and then have nothing to respond in another battle. On the potentially negative side, though, in solo, the Automa just flips random cards and all they care about is the number. The casualties don't affect them at all, so they don't have kind of that natural balancing element there. And something that could potentially be a negative or a positive is that sometimes the actual battling over territory doesn't really feel like it matters that much until the end of the game if Ragnarok is triggered, because the territory-based victory goals are so tough to achieve, but still the battles are very quick to resolve, very easy to resolve. The Automa makes them lightning fast, so if nothing else, at least they get out of your way quickly. Next, for my number 3 point, I'm looking at the Automa in the game, the Followers of Surtur. And this, for my taste, is generally a pro. This is a smooth system that also has some nice variety. So first of all, each of the 5 heroes in the core game has their own Automa side to them. And they follow one of 3 priorities, which is going to change not just the main action they might take sometimes, but also the entire composition of their Automa deck. And while the rules can seem challenging at first and do have a few minor exceptions, they're pretty easy to internalize quickly. And the variety in the cards can mean that they do very different things from hand to hand. Now, this does lead to some swinginess. Sometimes they just won't pursue the thing that would allow them to win the game very quickly. And sometimes they just totally wallop you because they get all the right actions at all the right times. But I haven't even minded things in the swingier games sometimes because David Turksey and team used the Automa idea they've used for a lot of other things like Sniper Elite, where you have cards 1, 2, 3, and you have different probability chances of rolling each one. So the fact that you can see what action the Automa is likely to take, what space they're likely to teleport to, and you can dig into kind of that predictability as much as you want, means a lot of the randomness doesn't bother me that much. But my number 2 point is back to a mix, and that's focusing on the victory conditions in the game and the Ragnarok mechanic. So on the positive side, the 3 victory conditions do have a different feel to them, whether you're trying to control as many lands as possible, or defeat Loki in some epic hunts, or get all the shrines you can find. They do change up the feeling of the game, whether you're going for them or the Automa has a different strategy. But the part that's been a bit negative for my taste is triggering Ragnarok. So when 3 of these Ragnarok requisite cards are fulfilled, each player only gets 1 more turn, Ragnarok is triggered. And what that means is that in most of my games, the vast majority, no one has achieved one of those 3 victory conditions. They seem almost too difficult to do. I just feel like the pacing of the game almost speeds up too quickly and too suddenly with these cards. So yeah, I have very mixed feelings about it. The game does sometimes feel like it ends too quickly, although to give it credit, it also stops the game from dragging on. But especially with the Automa in solo, they can sometimes jump into something and really mess up your plans. I sort of wish that the main 3 victory conditions would come up more often, and that it wasn't so often just going to come down to Ragnarok. But my final point is a full pro, at least for my taste, and that's the special action ring, which is really the most interesting choice you have in each of your player turns. Because you're putting your tokens down in these little spaces, and first of all, that means that if somebody else goes there after you're going to get free runes, which is very helpful. But also you can't take the same action more than once, and at any time once you have one of your action discs on the board, you can instead choose to build a monument, which is going to pull everything back off, get you some priests maybe, build up one of these monuments that makes you level up faster. And I find the interplay between the actions very interesting. You often feel like you want to push this one more time, you want to just get one more thing done, and then you have the alliances with these different realms giving you bonuses when anybody calls that action for the first time. So you can kind of like build into ones that you know are going to play into somebody else's strategy. But really good consistent tension to keep you thinking. I like it a lot. You might want to check out Lords of Ragnarok if you're into big area control games, if you enjoyed Lords of Hellas, if you like the theme of Norse mythology, been playing a lot of God of War lately. And especially if you're looking for this kind of game with solo options, I think the solo mode here is really smooth and really well done. But on the other hand, you might want to avoid this one if you don't like swinginess in your games. If you want to have the most interesting endings come up frequently, like I said, the Ragnarok mode kind of derails that sometimes. Or if you only like Automa that follow all the same rules as the player, this one kind of like teleports around and does other things that might seem a little weird. And if you want to see the game in action, I have a full solo playthrough that I posted a week or two ago. Good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.